Coach, was there any doubt in your mind that Michael Roth wouldn't have started Friday?
Well, certainly there wasn't any doubt once the field was announced, but we thought that there was a possibility that we might get an upset winner, a team that might not have had the experience that we've had playing in the SEC. So there was consideration before the teams were announced that we may not pitch them until game 2. But again, once we saw who was in the field, then that all went out the window. We, you know, as Adrian said, there are three great teams in this regional. If you look at the RPIs of the teams that are here, this is the lowest RPI regional in the postseason. So if you look at it that way, it's the toughest regional going. So to me, that's something that you have to look at. We know it's going to be very, very difficult, regardless of who's playing or when you play. So you can't sometimes pitch if you think you have 2 or 3 guys that are equal and you want to do a matchup. You can do it sometimes, but certainly not in our case in this region.
Coach, the same question I asked the players a moment ago, just being able to promote the stadium to the community, to the college baseball world, and being able to play this weekend and possibly next weekend in front of your fans.
Well, this is what it's all about. It really is. And, many of us, if you look at the coaches here with Coach Hanlon, Coach Avent, and Coach Dunn, we've been in the game for a while. We've sort of experienced college baseball when it's not like it is today. A lot of new stadiums around the country have popped up. The emphasis on college baseball is an all-time high. And when you hear guys like Adrian talk about it, this is why you do it. This is exciting. You're going to have great crowds, great teams. It's newsworthy. There's media. It's outstanding. So we're happy that we're in that group as far as our facilities concerned and our support for college baseball. It's great to be among those teams. And maybe it helps a little bit that you're playing at home, but still, it's a great regional with the other 3 teams.
I think you theorized before the season that this team could use the national championship as confidence in the season. Do you think that happened, and especially as far as the injuries go, do you think that helped playing that card kind of?
Well, I think it did help us. I had talked to some other coaches before I started fall practice that had won national championships, and namely Coach Maneri down at LSU, and I said, do I need to do anything different? How do you approach this, or do you redo your fall practice? And we chatted about it for a while, and he shared some things that he went through in the off season and the celebration and the recognition at football games and so forth. And the thing that I came out of it with was you continue to work hard, you do what you do, that's what your program's about. But you can use it to draw strength and experience from. And when we're playing down the stretch, when we play in Florida in a rubber game or Vandy or the last series at Alabama, we have enough players on this team that had experienced that in the past that they were able to draw from that. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but it means you're going to be comfortable in the role that you have to play. Win or lose, you don't let some things enter into it that prevent you from winning, the anxiety, the tension. It's just about whether you perform well enough at a particular time. So I think there's some good things that happen from that. Again, it doesn't guarantee you anything, but the experience is a positive thing.
And this time of year, you can.
Yes, you got to think, because there are enough guys that have been there. Roth, Brady, Morales, Wingo, Marzilli, Walker. They were there. So Matt Price, it's important. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but you can draw from the experience.
But Ray, with that being said, I mean, did you remind these guys this week, hey, you're national champions, but we haven't won anything yet, or are they experienced enough that you don't even have to bring that up to them?
I don't have to do that. I tell you why, because most of the time I listen. And I listen to stretch, I listen to dugout chatter, I listen around the batting cage. I pay attention to what my players are talking about. And yes, sometimes they're talking about their social life. I get that part too. But they have perspective, and we're not a team that we can throw our gloves out and win. We're not extremely talented. We weren't last year. But they know how to play, and they understand the game, and when they play their best, they have a chance. And it's been a team that knows that you can lose in the middle of the week, regardless if you have the better name than the opponent you're playing. So that's been one advantage, I think, that we've had, the maturity of those older guys that get it. They don't think we were going to win just because. And that's been a good thing for us. We know we have to scratch and claw and fight for anything we get. It's a blue-collar team, and it has been.
2 questions, Ari first and then David, and then we'll
Victor Roach, has it been a while since you've seen a player of that guy's caliber?
I think Roth summed it up best. Impressive. I knew, Coach Espo was down at Georgia Southern, so we were sort of tracking his home runs throughout the season, and I guess he's homered, once every 7 times up or something like that, and I don't think he homered his last game, which means he's supposed to homer now. That's not a good thing, but that's impressive. I even when I learned more about him, I started checking back into where he's from, the recruiting path, and so forth, and it's a great story. In the day and age of home runs disappearing, they didn't disappear, Mr. Roach. How many would he have had, with the other bats? So that's a great story for college baseball. We're going to do everything we can to avoid that. It may be very difficult to do because he, like I said, has homered on a regular basis.
Last question, Dave.
Ray, what have you seen from Georgia Southern's pitching? Obviously, Beck was the guy that went so long in the SoCon and won't be pitching on Friday.
Well, Beck and Moye, if I pronounce that correctly, they've both been stellar. Their numbers are good. Murray in the bullpen, they've done some things, and I know Coach Hennon. We played them the last 2 years, so we know their program. And as I mentioned, Coach Espo was there. They made a run in the Southern Conference to win that thing, and we know they're good. They're outstanding. They got 2 guys with more than 25 stolen bases. Phillips is one of the better hitters in the country. So we have great respect for them, and we know that Michael Roth will need to have one of his great games to give us an opportunity to win tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach. And